Hello, Susanna Anderson here from the Are They All Yours blog at StephenAndersonFamily.com. Today I want to tell you about how we handle sickness in our large family. And when I mean large, we have 11 children, ages 18 all the way down to 4 months old. Every age represented, we have 6 boys, 5 girls. Now with 6 seasons upon us, I thought I'd make a short video showing you what we do to try to prevent sickness from coming into our house. And if we couldn't prevent that and people are starting to get sick, how to prevent the spread. My number one tip, of course, and this is obvious, is if you suspect that people are going to be sick, put a lined trash bag next to their bed. That way they can hopefully make it to the trash can. In addition to that, I put out a reward years ago, and it's been active ever since, that if there's sudden onset of illness without any warning signs, and I didn't already put a bowl or a trash can by their bedside, and a child suddenly becomes ill, and they make it all the way to a trash can or to a toilet and throw up there and do not make a mess, they get $5. So that has really cut down on kids all of a sudden, out of nowhere in the middle of the night, getting sick and throwing up all over their bed or throwing up all over their sibling in the bunk bed below them, and all those fun scenarios. Now that reward only applies when it was unexpected illness. Once I already know kids are getting sick and I put the trash can right there, it does not apply. But it works great for those times when you didn't see it coming, and thankfully you don't have to clean the mess because the $5 motivated them to hold it all the way until they get to the toilet. Now, in addition to the trash can by the bed, I also put a towel on the kid's pillow. That way, even if the trash can is right there and they do kind of make it to the trash can, that way if they wipe their face on their pillow or a little bit drips or whatever, I can just quickly grab this towel, throw it in the wash, and I don't have to start over making their bed in the middle of the night. It's kind of just like an extra layer of bedding on there. Now the other thing I recommend you keep handy are gloves. Just a box of sterile gloves. And the reason for this, like I said, my kids are spread across a wide range of ages, and in the middle of the night I might have to clean up after one kid, and then that wakes the baby and then she wants to nurse. Having these on makes it easier to, I don't just have to completely scrub up to the elbows in between taking care of kids. Obviously you still have to wash up, but this helps cut down on the spread of germs. Also for cleanup, I know a lot of people use Lysol. I cannot abide the smell of Lysol. However, I have found this 7th generation disinfecting spray, and it kills 99.99% of germs on contact. I just use this plus paper towels to do a quick job of cleaning up. In addition to the spray, 7th generation also does make wipes, but I prefer to use these wipes. And I will put a link to these products in the description of the video below. This is a huge tub of 160 wipes, and they also just kill and destroy anything on contact. You can just use this to wipe doorknobs, drawer pulls, anything like that that sees a lot of traffic as far as being touched, to cut down on the spread of germs. Another thing I find helpful is to put tissue boxes all over the house. I just put one tissue box by every child. That way, again, if they get sick, they can wipe their mouth, if their nose is running, if they have to sneeze. Now, personally, I like to use the ones that have the lotion, because then they don't get that red nose all dry and inflamed. And since I never know when kids are going to get sick, those are the only kind that I ever buy, that I keep in stock. Now, as far as preventative measures, once we know there's sickness going on, I like to do some preventative measures. And one of those is taking elderberry syrup. You can make your own very, very easily. And I will have a separate video for how to make this. This is very effective at keeping illness away. The other things that I keep on hand all the time, in addition to the tissues and the sanitizing supplies, is ginger ale. And we love this Reed's brand ginger ale, and this is the extra ginger. It used to say only how many grams of ginger it contained, and I want to say it's 29 grams in this bottle. I can't find where it says that now. I keep this in the house 365 days a year, because when people get sick, this helps reduce fever, or if you have a gastrointestinal thing going around, it can help with nausea, it can help with vomiting. It kills pretty much anything on contact. So When kids start getting sick, I start giving them Reed's ginger ale, and it is like a cure-all for everything, I'm telling you. I also always keep in the house this Herb Farm garlic mullein oil. This is for ear infections, because many times when kids have an upper respiratory thing or they're teething, it will go straight to the ears and will cause ear pain. I will make a separate video just exactly explaining how I use this garlic mullein oil. But this is also something that I keep in the house all the time. I make a chest rub that I keep on hand all the time. Again, I never know when sickness strikes. Typically, we only end up using this in the winter. When people actually start getting sick, I make up a batch of what we call elixir. And I have a separate video on my YouTube channel explaining how we make this and how I take it. So these are the things that I do on a regular, I don't want to say day-to-day basis because people aren't sick every day, but when there's sickness, these are my go-to remedies. I am not against conventional medicine. I do think that there is a place for conventional medicine. I'm not freaked out by a fever. I think fevers are very beneficial, and a fever has its place in combating illness. But if the fever gets to a point where the child is uncomfortable and cannot sleep at night, I typically treat the fever. Now, my first line for this is homeopathics. And belladonna is what is best for treating most fevers. You want to look into it and see if the symptoms match the indications for belladonna, but that is typically the go-to for fevers. And I keep this on hand in a 30C dilution as well as a 200C dilution. And this works for fever as well as a headache that typically accompanies the fever, and even some of the nausea and throwing up. So this also are some of the things that I keep on hand all the time. If the homeopathics don't work and the child is running a high fever in the middle of the night, in pain, unable to sleep, I do give them some children's Motrin, and I always start with a half dose. I find that the half dose is typically enough to take the edge off the fever, enough to where they can sleep and their body can start healing and repairing. So I do also always keep a children's Motrin on hand. If all that doesn't work and the child does not improve within 24 hours of me beginning treatment, or after 48 hours shows very little improvement, I then take them to their pediatrician. Now, I know a lot of people that are into natural holistic health, such as myself, wonder where do I find a good naturopathic doctor? And there are a lot of wonderful naturopathic doctors out there. Personally, for our family, I do not see a naturopathic pediatrician. And the reason for that is that whatever recommendations a naturopathic doctor is going to give as far as natural approaches, by the time I take the child to the doctor, I've probably already exhausted those options. Years ago, when I was a young mom, I discovered a book on how to treat children naturally when they get sick. And I would like to recommend this here. It is called Naturally Healthy Babies and Children, and it is written by Aviva Romm. If you can only buy one book on natural health for children and how to treat them, I cannot recommend this book enough. This is not written from a Christian perspective, but by and large, this book is a wonderful resource and compendium, and I have used this extensively throughout my last 18 years of parenting. And it covers everything from pregnancy all the way through any childhood disease you might ever face, tells you when to seek a doctor's care, and how to otherwise address things naturally. It's just a wonderful, wonderful resource. So if you only have one book on the topic, this is the one that I would recommend. All that being said, like I said, our children rarely do get seriously ill. Out of our 11 kids, only 3 have ever needed antibiotics in their entire lives. So treating it naturally does work, and should it fail, I do go to the conventional doctor to get the big guns. And I do not at all discredit modern medicine. I just try to use it as minimally as possible because, of course, there are side effects and drawbacks. Anyway, this is just what we do in our family to try to minimize illness, and if it does hit our house, to get it out of the house as quickly as possible. If you have any other suggestions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. And if you have any questions, please leave those in the comments as well. And if you have not already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel. God bless you. Thank you for watching.